Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
We travel to historic Williamsburg to learn how Virginia colonists celebrated the year's harvest. Chris Mullins shows us the secret to growing edamame in the home garden from the ground up. And we learn about silky goats.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at Colonial Williamsburg in front of the majestic Capitol here in Williamsburg. It's a great time of year to come visit, and it's a time, of course, of Thanksgiving. And while we're being very appreciative of our Thanksgiving meal and our friends and family, we wondered what it was like for folks in the 18th century when they sat down to dine. And what we found out is that while food might have been scarce for some, the tables of both the elite and the common man were quite different.
Thanksgiving Day has been recognized as an annual holiday since 1863. During the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Day of Thanksgiving and Praise to be celebrated on the final Thursday of November. This national holiday celebrates the bounty of the harvest season. While the recognized holiday came more than a century after colonists came to Williamsburg, it turns out the celebration of a harvest meal was a part of fall feast. Lower-class colonists in Williamsburg would try to copy the wealthy at their dinner table, but often it was wild game mixed with garden vegetables for stews that fed the family, for that was all they could afford. While at the royal governor's home, invited guests dined on the best money could provide, and you could tell the class of people you were eating with by the bread they would break.
Understand, a loaf of bread is a communal food. Only poor people eat communal foods. When you came to the dine with the royal governor, when you sat down at the table, rolled up in your napkin was a roll about the size of your fist made from the finest white flour, an individual roll just for you. When you went down to the tavern, that's where you found the big loaf of bread and everybody sort of pulling off chunks of it and eating it right there at the tables.
Poultry on the colonist table was mostly wild and was quite the variety.
Rather than eating only chicken and turkey like we do today, they eat a great deal of squab and pigeon. So you see them eating a lot of those smaller sort of song-type birds as well. In fact, we believe the governor was given, it was described in the inventory as 12 red birds one day, just short of Christmas to eat. More than likely, those are cardinals.
People of Colonial Williamsburg did not slaughter domestic chickens often because when you would eat your chicken, there were no more eggs, and eggs played a critical role in the colonial kitchen. During October and November, these early Virginians did serve one traditional meat, a Virginia ham, and occasionally a wild turkey.
Hogs were raised wild as well. Rather than penning them in and feeding them slops, they would mark them and set them to go in the woods, and they would be fattening themselves up on acorns this time of year and things. And a lot of times they'd put them on an island. If you go across to Surrey, you'll see Hog Island on the way, and that's convenient. That way you always know where your pigs are. You throw them on the island. You don't have to worry about them tearing up your garden or running through town or any of that stuff, and when you want one, you know where to go and get them.
The typical harvest celebration would include pork, the last greens from the garden, root vegetables, river oysters, and rockfish, which were bountiful from the rivers nearby. The upper class would also serve mutton, which was cooked over an open flame. Although not a recognized holiday, it was a time for thanks in all homes. Compared with living conditions in England, America was truly the land of plenty.
Compare this to England at the time. Their waters have been fished for thousands of years. Their fish are gone. Their lands have been farmed for hundreds of years, and the soil is not as productive. They come here to Virginia, they see wildfowl blackening the skies, they see oyster beds, basically cutting off parts of the Chesapeake Bay at that time. So those are the kinds of things that people who came over from Europe were kind of surprised by when they came to Virginia, is just the abundance of the natural resources here.
As we are today, thankful to our nation's farmers who helped to make our Thanksgiving meals bountiful.
James City County surrounds Virginia's colonial capital of Williamsburg, so as you might expect, agriculture is old and historic here. There are 74 farms on almost 6,000 acres of land in James City County, and the largest dollar crop is hay and forage to feed the 600 head of dairy and beef cattle here. Other livestock in the county include layered chickens, 369 goats, and 172 horses and ponies. Total farm income for this small locality comes to more than $2.8 million a year. Vegetable and fruit producers are also part of the farm economy of James City County, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Chris Mullins, and we're going to be talking about edamame in the home garden from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
I feel that family farms are very important because it's not just a living or occupation, it's a way of life. We live, work, and play right here in one location.
The grandchildren are around, and as often as they can, they'll come and say, "Grandma, can I help?"
There's a lot of challenges, but by having to be a family operation, it makes it all more enjoyable.
This is what I do. It's my livelihood. I enjoy doing it. This is my hobby. It's my vocation. It's a wonderful place to enjoy life with my wife, my children, and grandchildren.
We're putting out a product for other people to drink and consume. We hope they like milk and cheese and ice cream and butter and all those good things.
What I've always done is what I enjoy doing. It's what I hope my family will continue to do in the future.
I'm Gerald Heatwell.
I'm Anita Heatwell,
I'm Monty Heatwell,
and I'm dedicated to dairy, our cows, our milk, and our land.
All-terrain vehicles are a lot of fun and have become very popular in rural Virginia. An ATV is versatile and is used for a variety of purposes. But it's important to never carry a passenger unless the ATV is specifically designed to carry riders. An extra rider can distract the driver and throw the ATV off balance. Operate your ATV safely. And remember,
no extra riders.
For more on all-terrain vehicle safety, go to farmbureauadvantage.com.
So what is edamame? Have you ever heard that term? Well, edamame is simply a Japanese word that means soybeans. And what we're talking about here for the gardener are soybeans that are harvested green. Most of the time, if you're driving around the state, you'll see soybeans that are grown, but they're harvested brown and dried up, and they're used for various types of animal food. But edamame is a lot more like a butter bean. It's harvested at a green stage, and it's eaten that way. Let's see what it looks like. I've got some here in a bag. Got some, they are in a pod. They come out, you harvest them off the plant in this pod form. But what you really are eating are what's inside the pod, the seeds. As you can see some there. These pods are a little hairy and they grow all over the plant. These plants are very, very productive. And the seeds are delicious to eat. Don't eat the pod, just the seeds. Let's look around and see how you would grow these in the home garden. All right, well today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm. As you see behind me, we've got a lot of edamame growing, whole field in fact. And one of the things we're doing here is looking at different varieties and how they do in the Virginia climate. And that's important for you as a home gardener. You want to find a variety that's going to do well for you. And it's easier now to find edamame varieties from different seed companies, and there are some really good varieties out there. There are some late ones and some early ones, and you could use that to your advantage in the home garden. For example, edamame needs to be planted early as possible because it's got a long growing season. So most of Virginia would be planting in May, early May, when soil temperatures are in the 60s. And then you'd be harvesting that planting probably at the end of August or into September. So if you were to plant an early variety and then a late variety in a few rows in your garden, you would have harvest of edamame for a longer period of time, and that would be good for you. Overall, edamame is a great plant for the home gardener. It's relatively easy to grow. There aren't too many problems associated with it, not too many diseases or insects that bother the plant. It requires a little bit of water, especially in drought conditions. But otherwise, it's fairly easy to grow. It shades the rows pretty quickly, so you don't get a lot of weed problems. One thing to think about is when to harvest the pods off the plant. If you're in August or September and the pods are still very small and thin, they're not quite ready. What you want is a pod that's going to be starting to plump up with the seeds inside. Looks about like this. If they get yellow, start to yellow too much, they're going to be over mature. So this middle one here, when they're starting to plump up nice and they're still green, they're ready to harvest. And they're just about ready to eat. What you do with edamame is you don't eat the pod. You take them and boil them in salty water for about 10 minutes or so, and they become very easy then to pop the seeds out of here, and you can just consume them that way. They're great as a snack, they're very healthy, and they taste great. Well, for more information about edamame, please contact your local county extension office. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
Up next on Real Virginia, Kendra Bailey Morris shares an easy recipe for pork chops from the heart of the home.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
4-H leaders are people you know from your community and from communities across Virginia. They support youth by offering their skills, their time, and their caring, and they believe in what they do.
It's a great opportunity to work with children and to be able to be a positive impact on their life at a young age and hopefully help them turn out to be better citizens as they grow up.
Find out how you fit in. Contact your local Virginia Cooperative Extension Office.
I'm Lee Lukowski.
And I'm Tiffany Lukowski from the Crush TV.
And we want to join the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries in reminding you to always wear a safety harness when hunting from a tree stand.
Be safe and happy hunting.
Kendra Bailey Morris knows everything there is to know about home cooking. And she also knows that the cook of the family likes to prepare things rather easily. And that's why she's created this great recipe for pork chops in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Kendra Bailey Morris, and welcome to the Heart of the Home. We are here today in Sir Latab's kitchen, and we're going to be making an old family recipe of mine that my mom taught me to make. And it's super easy. It's a pork chop dish, or a pork chop bake, I guess you could call it. And what we like to call it barbecued lemon pork chops. And it's basically boneless pork chops that we're going to layer some ketchup and some brown sugar and some fresh sage and lemons and onions. Wrap it up tightly in tin foil and let it cook for a really long time till they get nice and tender. Take the tin foil off and serve them. And it's absolutely super easy and very satisfying. We're obviously going to be using Virginia pork here, and let's get started. So what I've got already in the dish, and I've sprayed the dish with a little bit of cooking spray just so things don't stick. So we'll be working with some ketchup and items with sugar in it, like brown sugar, and it can make it stick in a big mess. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and some freshly brown black pepper, or brown pepper. Black pepper, I think is what I'm thinking of. And then what we're going to do is I've just got some sliced lemons, and I'm going to lay lemons across each one of these pieces of pork. And this lemon, as it cooks for a really long period of time, totally cooks down, gets really soft. It almost disappears. You don't even know it's in there. So don't even worry about the lemon rind or anything. And the lemon rind is where a ton of the flavor of a lemon is. So it's very important to do the sliced lemon. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some sliced onions, and a pretty good amount of them, because these are all going to cook down again. And basically what we're doing now is making a barbecue sauce. So this is the same kind of barbecue sauce you'd make in a pan. We're just going to layer it right here in this dish. And it seems crazy that I'm doing it this way, but I'm just spooning it right on top of these onions, like so. It's about a tablespoon per pork chop, more if you like it sweet, less if you don't. Okay, that's good. And then now I've got some ketchup. And I'm just going to, same thing. Just spoon some on top of each. This is a great dish if you want to assemble something ahead of time and go to work and then come home and pop it in the oven. It's already ready to go. You just take it out and put it in the oven. Or if you just don't have a lot of time in your hands to cook at the end of the day, which many of us don't, then this is a great dish. So you can make it super fast. And now I'm just going to make a little bit of a liquid. And what we want to do is have a braising liquid. And that's basically so the pork chops don't dry out in the oven. And I've got some water. And I've got some Worcestershire sauce. And I've got a little bit of chili powder. And I'm just going to stir that together. And this is going to obviously create the liquid, but it's also going to add some extra flavor, another dimension. Now I've got some fresh sage leaves that came out of my garden. Sage grows really, really well in Virginia, especially in the Richmond area where I live. And now I'm just going to take this mixture and pour it on top. I'm going to cover this tightly with tin foil. This is a dish we probably had in our house at least once a week. It was something, my mother was a school teacher, she's retired now, and she would make this dish all the time, so it was something that she could make super fast after she had been teaching all day and she was totally exhausted. Grab it, stuff it all in here, throw it in the oven, and then we'd have dinner in about an hour and a half. So this is going to go in the oven. We're going to cook it at 350 degrees for about an hour. And what I'm going to do is check it after about an hour. And once it's nice and tender, I'm going to take the top of this off and take the tin foil off. And I'm going to go ahead and reduce that liquid till it's got a nice little kind of caramel barbecue sauce texture to it. And we're going to serve it. So we'll be right back. Through the magic of television, I've already had 2 of these cooking and finished, and that's just because the total cooking time is about an hour and a half, and I figured you guys don't want to sit there and watch the oven cook that long. So we've got these going here, and I also failed to mention earlier, in the sauce that I added, the liquid, I added a little bit of cider vinegar, about a teaspoon, and that's optional. I encourage you to do it. Vinegar is really nice when you're doing a braise like this because not only does it add flavor, but it tends to tenderize your meat as well. And these pork chops are very, very lean. So technically this is a pretty healthy dish for the most part. Now the final thing we're going to do here is just drizzle a little bit of molasses on top. Again, optional, but molasses is just something that seems to belong in barbecue sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on there. You could add a little bit of sorghum syrup. Virginia makes some wonderful sorghum syrup that I have started collecting because I absolutely love it. Just a little extra sweetness in there would work just beautifully. So here we have my mom's recipe for lemon barbecue pork chops, and you can do them bone in or you could do them without the bone like I've done here, just like beautiful tenderloin pork chops. I'm Kendra Bailey Morris. Let's get cooking.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
Your Thanksgiving meal may cost you a bit more this year. The Virginia Farm Bureau estimates Virginians will be able to feed their families a Thanksgiving meal for a little more than $5 per person. The Farm Bureau has conducted an informal price survey for the holiday meal over the last 10 years. The survey found the price of traditional items for 10 adults averaged $50.01 across the state. The highest average cost for a meal was found in Pittsylvania County at $53.45. The locality with the lowest average was Floyd County at $44.10. In 2003, the average meal cost that shoppers spent was $39.12. Out of this year's $50 cost, the farmer's share of the Virginia Thanksgiving feast is slightly more than $8.
Hey, buddy, where are you going today?
I'm gonna go over there to stand 6.
Well, I'm gonna go up here on 8. I saw bigging up there the other day.
All right, well, good luck, but you don't have a safety harness.
Oh, shoot, I ain't got time to go back and get it. I left it in the truck.
That's a bad idea. You really need it.
Well, we gotta go. See you later. Kill a biggin.
Yes, sir.
What's your name? Open your eyes for me.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone. But you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
It isn't often we get to introduce a new animal breed on the program, but today Lani Furbank shows us there's a new miniature goat breed that's taking the industry by the horns.
Miniature silky fainting goats are nosing their way into the hearts of goat farmers across the country.
They're drawn to them for their beauty.
And this unique breed started right here in Virginia at Renee Orr's farm in Culpeper.
I started breeding goats like in 1993. I started out with Nigerian dwarfs.
Then, when Orr was introduced to long-haired fainting goats, she decided to combine the two and develop a breed of her own.
This breed is all about the look, and it's about a long, silky coat. It's a single coat, it's flat, and it's straight, and when you touch it, it feels like silk.
In 2005, she opened a registry and, with the help of a committee, established a breed standard.
Anybody that had a goat that they felt looked like what we were describing in the breed standard could send in their an application with measurements and pictures. I had about 50 goats in the registry by the end of 2005. Today we have almost 4,000 goats as of September 2013.
These thousands of goats are bred and cared for to participate in mini silky shows all year round. Orr hosts 2 shows in Rockingham County, one in the spring and one in the fall. The fall show, earlier this month, drew competitors like John Pegg from as far away as Michigan.
Traveling here twice, it's about 750 miles one way, so we've got 3,000 miles twice here. We got 14 hours round trip to the show in Illinois, and I have no clue how long it's going to take us to get to Texas and back.
Farmers like Orr and Pegg enjoy raising silkies because of the breed's unique characteristics.
And it's creative, and you know, if you like making beautiful things, then you'll love this breed because they are awesome. You know, they're awesome to look at. They're awesome to be around.
They're like a big dog. They'll follow you around like a dog. Some will sit on your lap. They'll chew on your ears. They're playful. Every once in a while you get one that's a little shy, but they're just fun to be around. It's fun to get up in the morning, go out in the barn and feed them their hay, listen to them munch and drink your coffee and just sit there and listen to them.
For these owners, it's hard not to fall in love with the miniature silky fainting goat. Reporting from Rockingham County, Virginia, I'm Lani Furbank for the Virginia Farm Bureau.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good month.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.